Hi, and welcome to WFKT. I am Toby Jandreau. We are doing a second interview night for the candidates for the school board for sub-districts 4, 5, 6, and 7. We will have Leroy McKenzie on the ballots known as Franklin McKenzie and Tanya Voisine with us this evening. Voting will be on March 28th from 8:30 to 5:30, and we will be posting this information again at the end of the live. For anybody who has any questions or concerns, you can always put your questions in the comments. We will moderate that and hopefully get to as many as we can, if not all of them, at the end of the live. If you have any questions or any concerns that are not addressed during this interview night, please feel free to reach out to the candidates directly on their campaign pages. Those have also been tagged in the comments on Facebook. So just follow this link. You should be able to see that in the comments. Each candidate will be answering the same questions as the candidates in the initial live. They will be asked in the same order, and then we will ask the questions to the candidates that are received in the comment section. And let's just get right into it. We have Tanya Voisine from Fort Kent, and we have Leroy McKenzie, also from Fort Kent, again vying for the seats for sub-district 4, 5, 6, and 7. Hello, you guys. It is wonderful to have you here.
Good evening.
So we're just going to get right into it. You each have two minutes to answer each question. If you need more time, let me know. And again, there will be 7 questions that we'll ask, and at the end, we'll do the questions that come in through Facebook Live. So the first question, Tanya, we did a hypothetical flip of the coin. Tanya was first to go, so we're going to jump right into it. Tanya, why are you running for school board, and what do you hope to do?
I decided to run for school board because I felt that the families in the districts needed to be listened to a little bit more attentively. Moms and dads here in this area are very passionate about their children, and they need to have their concerns validated by the school board. My hope for the school board is that rather focusing on such larger things, I think right now our priority and our focus should be on our learners and our teachers right now. That's it.
Thank you. Leroy, same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
You don't have to.
Okay.
For me, this is probably actually the easiest question that I'll probably ever face. Everything that I do in my life revolves around my 4-year-old. My daughter Lux will be starting school at Fort Kent Elementary School next year. And being a school board member allows me an input on her future. And not only my daughters, but your children, and those in the audience, their children as well. As an advocate in general, I think that being a school board member gives that peace of mind for those who support and have the same beliefs that you do. And the biggest thing that I can continue to do as a school board member is just be that voice for the parents, for the students, for the administration and staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question. People often mistake what they read on social media as news. What would you say to voters who may have seen posts of yours and have questions or concerns about your initiatives? Leroy?
Social media can be very dangerous, but it can also at the same time be very helpful. I think that personally, if anybody has any questions on my beliefs, my standpoints, anything of that nature, I've made myself very available, either by phone, by text, by Facebook, by email, whatever means that somebody has to answer a question at whatever time of night it seems to come across. So again, I stay the same. If somebody has a question, just ask me. Tell them. Transparency.
Tanya, same question?
Just to kind of piggyback off of Leroy, social media can be very, very dangerous. Often people will read something and take it that it has to be true. We saw it on Facebook. I've also made a campaign page on Facebook that I've responded to multiple questions, and because I am new, I'm running for the first time ever in a campaign like this, so I want to make sure that, you know, the people that are voting for me know why I'm running and why I feel passionate about this.
Great. Question 3. Tanya, we're going to start with you. How can SAD 27 better support the surrounding communities that are in the Tri-District, like Frenchville and Madawaska? How can you work together better?
Personally, I think they're doing a great job already working together. We share multiple resources. The teachers often get together and they do their workshop days as a whole, so they can share ideas and piggyback off of other people. Then we share administration roles, and even our bus that we have. How to make it any better, besides actually combining together, would be maybe share events together. Maybe there's events that Fort Kent would be hosting that maybe students from Wisdom or from Madawaska would like to join into, and just open that invitation to them. It would be nice. It would be nice that they get to see other peers that are at the same level as them.
I like that. Leroy, same question?
As a board member, I get to see some things that a lot of other people don't get to see. I do agree with Tanya when she does say that currently we do work very well together. I know that there's staff that spends time in one school and another school and does travel within the district, and I know that I believe we have an IT person that does as well. Mm-hmm. But I think that over the last few years, we've kind of had to shuffle things around just because of the pandemic. I think that now that we're moving through this and moving back to some kind of normalcy, that our students and staff can relate with again, I think that being able to do things, if anybody has ideas of things that they think that would be a good mix with, different, within the valley, I think that it would be and I'm in the valley, I'm still talking about Madawaska.
Of course.
Just so we know. But anyway, I think that now that we're moving past the pandemic area and going into, I don't even know if they're bringing it to an endemic area yet, but hopefully, I think that being able to have a little bit more freedom in guidelines will allow us to be a bigger part of the tri-area.
The community as a whole.
Yes.
Leroy, again, we'll start with you. What do you think your primary role as a board member is?
A board member does not have a single specific primary role. We have a handbook that's about this thick, and in that handbook, it tells you that you are not only the voice of the children, the students, but you are also a voice of those that put you in the position that you are. You are, if I had to pick one generalized theme, it would be as an advocate, because you're an advocate for the parents, the students, faculty, staff, administration. You're an advocate all around the board. So our biggest role would be as an advocate.
Thank you. Tanya?
Being new to this position, hopefully, is I'd like to give my insight as a mother, primarily. I have 3 children, 2 of which attend school, and 1 will be in a couple of years. So as a mother, I want to be able to stand up for them and all other children. I work with children in my day job too. I'm a daycare provider. So I think my role in the school board would be to kind of give that insight for the younger children to see where they're coming from, because they can't always speak up for themselves.
Thank you. The Tech Center in Frenchville offers some very good programs to students, including modern heavy equipment and forestry simulators. Should SAD 27 continue being a part of the Tech Center in Frenchville? Tanya?
100%, absolutely. We had, when I went to high school, Tech Center was up and running, and if it wasn't for that Tech Center, I know a lot of my classmates probably wouldn't have finished high school. That Tech Center really kept them engaged and focused in school, because they already knew what they wanted to do when they graduated, and the Tech Center gave them the abilities to practice that. And oftentimes, they could land their job right out of high school with the skills that they had from the Tech Center. So I 100% support staying with the Tech Center for sure.
Leroy, same question.
I'm fully on board with still using the Tech Center. I remember when I was at the high school, we did have vocational programs. I think that we've transitioned a lot of our local businesses find a hard time to get that knowledge individual that has that training. And I think keeping with that program will allow places that are struggling to find assistance from, helpers, whatever, body workers or forestry. I mean, whatever program, vocational program that they're considering. Trade schools are it's a decline. We don't have as much help in the trade area, so vocational programs really help.
Okay. Leroy,
Yes.
what do you think should be the short-term, and what do you think the long-term goals should be of our district?
I'm glad this question was asked because.
And take your time on this one, we have time.
Personally, I think that we can blame a lot of things on the pandemic. It's caused a lot of change. But with that said, in a lot of the responses that I've gotten from staff, students, we should be focusing on how to take what we have right now and make it better. We have staff issues. How do we get staff to come in and want to be here? How do we get teachers to come and say, yeah, I want to come to Fort Bend? We need to focus on recruiting and retention, for one, but we also need to make sure that our staffing has the tools and the proper refreshing of the tools to provide our children with the best possible education that they can get.
Thank you. Tanya, same question?
Well, as an outsider kind of looking in to the school board, my short-term goals would be just to slowly continue working back to a normal school year, what a normal school year would look like. I know my kindergartner hasn't had a chance to experience some certain events because of the pandemic and stuff. So just bringing those back, just slowly bringing those normal programs back for those kids, because those are great memories to have. Long-term goals would definitely be to continue to kind of play catch up with those learners. Some of those learners struggled really hard during the pandemic, even though, personally, I had great teachers helping my kiddos. I couldn't have asked for anything better, especially since everything was just dropped on their lap. But we just need to make sure that we continue to not leave any of those kids behind, to make sure that they're continuing to reach their goals and their benchmarks that they should be. And then also, like Leroy said, teacher retention and recruitment for new teachers. We have great staff, and they're a blast to work with. I'm friends with a lot of them. It would be nice to continue that trend and just to continue continue to keep and have these new teachers.
Tanya, I will start with you. What makes you the best candidate for the seat on this board?
I'm going to be honest, I'm new, so I'm hoping that maybe just a new insight, you know, a new point of view. I work with little ones every day, and then I have my own little ones. So I'm hoping that just having a different aspect, a different area that I'm coming from. I mean, I run my daycare is my small business. I've been running that for 12 years. So it's come a long way, and so I'm just hoping that my skills can be a benefit to the school board.
I didn't realize you've been doing it for 12 years. Good for you. Good run.
So, on the first question, I said that would be my hardest question.
You said that would be the easiest one.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Okay, phew. 'Cause
Yeah,
this is
way back.
actually literally the hardest question ever. Because, one, I'm not one to talk about myself a whole lot. But in that same token, I've been very fortunate in my life to have a lot of good mentors along the way. And I feel like everything I've done throughout my life has got me to this point to be a successful school board member because of the experiences that I've had in my life. Because I'm now a father of a 4-year-old. And I listen. And that's a big thing. I mean, you can talk and you can say everything that people might want to hear, but if you don't listen, then you can't be successful. So I feel like I would be a better candidate than, I feel like I'd be a good candidate because I will listen, and I will continue to listen, and I will continue to advocate the way that I have been.
Listen.
We are going to take a quick 5-minute break. We will gather the questions from the comments and the messages, and we will be right back with you. Hello, everyone, and we're back. Again, I'm Nicole. I'm here with Leroy McKenzie. On the ballot, he will be seen as Franklin McKenzie and Tanya Voisine, running for the seats of sub-districts 4, 5, 6, and 7. Voting will be on March 28, 8:30 to 5:30 here at the town office. Absentee ballots are available, so if you are not going to be here that day, you can still vote. Please come in anytime, bring your ID. We do have some questions that were received online, and we will have some closing statements, and we were just going to jump right into it. Leroy, I'm going to start with you. One of the questions we were asked is, what is your plan to support teachers in their plans, in their endeavors? How are you going to support our teachers?
Nicole, that's actually a really good question. It's pretty open-ended, actually. I think one of the focuses that the board needs to take is making sure that teachers have that time to do planning, to refresh. They need to be sent throughout the state or wherever they need to go, and given that opportunity to go and meet up with other professionals and exchange ideas and come back refreshed. I know in my own personal dealings, I've dealt with that throughout other organizations that I belong to, and when you come back, you're always full of energy and you're rip-roaring, ready to go, and okay, how can I just hit the ground running and make a difference? And we need to focus on allowing that opportunity to allow our staff to grow, and therefore when they do that, they'll be bringing that into the students. And it just doesn't affect the students here. Those other professionals that they get to meet up with will get the ideas from them, so it's like a big whirlwind where it doesn't just affect here.
The ripple effect.
Right, it affects everybody else that they come into contact with, and that needs to be a focus.
Thank you.
Tanya, same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, I think I've got it. Leroy, that was a great answer. I really don't know how to top it. I mean, in the teachers' classrooms and stuff, they need to have the tools, the right tools for the job. You go anywhere else, doctor, mechanic, they need tools for their job. Well, same thing goes with teachers. So I think making sure that the teachers have the right tools, the right technology, if they're doing a unit on, say, plants, make sure that they have the opportunity to purchase the supplies that they need in order to effectively teach that unit to their students. With everything, all these resources that we have, especially since COVID hit, Zoom tours and stuff have been made really popular. Just making sure that the teachers have, those technologies, those updated technologies, and technologies that work and running when you need them to, obviously too, because it's very frustrating when you need to print something and a printer's not working, or you need to email and internet might be down. Just making sure that those little things are all kept up and kept in tip-top shape is probably my best answer.
Thank you. Keep timing out here. Now that we have new guidelines through the CDC for school-aged learners, what is your next initiative, Leroy?
I want to continue the strides that we've taken to allow vocational programs, obviously the groups that we work with, but I also at the same time think that we need to start looking really deep into how we can recruit and keep the wonderful teachers that we have, because at the end of the day, I mean, if you look back over the last couple of years, and I hate to keep bringing this up, but if you look over the last couple of years, it's the teachers that have been the glue to everything. So we need to make sure that the teachers have like you've said and I've said, the tools that they need to do their job. And I think that if you pay attention to the tools and the recruiting and retention, everything else will just kind of fall into place.
Thank you. Tanya, same question.
I think even though the CDC has all these new guidelines for in-person learning and stuff all in place, I mean, we can't just throw everything away that they've worked on these past couple of years. You know, the nurses and stuff that have been in the district have worked really hard on their protocols. So I mean, just making sure that, you know, that the kids are healthy, they have healthy learning environments. You know, I think we need to really focus maybe on ventilation, or maybe air conditioners, or the little things like that, because you know, our environment is changing, and August and September even have been really, really warm. So maybe looking into their learning environment, because you know, when a 5 and 6 year old are hot, you're not going to get much out of them, or even if they're too cold, you're not going to get much out of them because they're too focused on their body. So just making sure, you know, that their learning environment, I think, is you know, being tended to.
Very nice, thank you. We have the questions rolling in, so forgive me that I keep looking at my phone, not being rude. With several points of views and beliefs, how do you intend to work with the rest of the board who may or may not agree with your stance? Leroy, please start.
That's tough. A lot of it's about respect. You have to respect those that are around you. There's been times where I haven't agreed with, obviously, other board members with how they feel on specific issues. But you can disagree, but you have to do it respectfully. Not everybody's always going to agree, or else we'd have a very boring world. But I think working together, when you have let's just take the last school board meeting. The last school board meeting was probably the best meeting that I've ever been to. There was no stress, there was no, it literally, we got work done because we knew there were some of us that were on different spectrums of different topics, but we all put that to the side and respected everybody and got the job done. And that's what we have to continue to do. We have to continue to, you can't just always go by your feelings. You have to be able to respect what everybody else feels at the same time.
Not to interrupt, are you referencing the last televised school board meeting?
Yes. Yes.
The emergency meeting?
No.
Okay.
I was actually referring to the one that we just had Tuesday night.
Oh, you're right. Yep. Excuse me. On WFKT.
It's just, there's a lot that happens in so little time in these board meetings. There is so much that, sometimes the agendas are very short, but most of the times, we could probably stay there 3 or 4 hours. So, there's a lot to it, and it's more than just sitting at that table. There's stuff that, the phone calls and the emails and everything that we get outside of that round table. So I think respecting everybody that sits at that table is the best that we can ask for.
Thank you. Tanya, same question?
Yeah, if I am elected, I will be the new person in there. So I will, and this is going to be my first time I ever serve on any sort of board or anything like this, other than maybe back in high school. So I'm going to, personally myself, is going to be a lot of learning. So I'm going to be looking for that help, I guess, from the other people on the school board to make sure, I am doing what I'm supposed to in my role. So I guess I'm going to be the learner, and I'm hoping that they're going to help me in this new role. I don't know what else to say to that, but that's all I have.
Yes, thank you.
I can add on to that.
You can add on to Tanya's, or you can add on to your own?
Both.
Sir.
If I may.
Sure.
So, in speaking about being new, look, I mean, it's the board's job to make sure, if you're elected, that you have the materials that you need and the knowledge that you need to succeed, to be able to know what your responsibilities are. And I still learn that too. I mean, not every decision as a board member that I make is, sometimes I have to go back and reread the rule book. So I think it's the board's responsibility when it comes to talking about whether somebody fails as a board member or succeeds as a board member. I think that a lot of that comes from the board itself. If you have a good group that respect each other, then the board will mesh and work together, and you won't have, if you're elected, then you won't have the worries that.
Well, thank you for that. Common denominator is the children. Next question, what is your thought on the release time during the day going to after school that is proposed? It is not happened, it's not been voted on, it's not been changed, but it has been a question most recently throughout for the younger school learners. So Leroy, what is your thought on the release time during the day going to after school, to an after school program?
So let me just clarify, you're saying?
The release time that the students get right now, like
Right.
to go to the religion or
During the day.
happens during the day, during school hours. It is proposed to potentially go between 3 and 4 after school. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that would be a huge and epic fail. Personally, I feel that there are benefits to having that time during the day for multiple reasons. One of them being, again, you're affording teachers that time to maybe schedule or correct homework, or, you know, I mean, you're affording time for teachers to do what they need to do, prepare. And everybody knows that if you do it after school, I mean, I wouldn't be bringing my daughter. I mean, it's a time thing. So allowing that to happen, or to continue to happen during the day, is a benefit to not only the teachers, but the parents and the student themselves.
Thank you. Tanya?
There is a survey, I believe, that they sent out, the Faith Formation Center sent out. So I guess number one would have to be to look at the numbers of maybe that the students that are enrolled in, that are attending them, maybe versus the students that do not go, because it is an optional program. It is signed up, you know, the parents sign your children up at the beginning of the year for this program. So I mean, we have to look at that. I mean, if the number is really high for these students to go, I mean, why not continue? Like Leroy said, it is a planning period. When I did my student teaching back at Fort Kent Elementary School, that's what we did during release time. We did have a couple students hang back. At that time when I was doing my student teaching, we had just been gifted a brand new beautiful smart board. And so the kids that stayed back, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 of them, they got to play around on it. And they weren't punished, they weren't given any new homework or anything. Sometimes they were given a chance to catch up. I mean, it has been brought to my attention that some parents don't feel, I don't know how to word this, that they don't feel that it's fair, and that when their child stays behind, they're just sitting there bored. So I think maybe there might be some better planning maybe to be done, that if we do continue this release time, some better planning maybe needs to be done with the ones that maybe do stay behind, and those, so they don't feel maybe left out, or it's just boring for them. You know, maybe something, I'm not quite sure what, but maybe some vocalization between the teachers, and maybe some of the students can come together with the other students that are off to release time if they're a different grade level or something, and maybe have a small activity planned for them, but just so they don't feel left out. But I am still 100% for the Faith Formation Center, because like Leroy said, not all parents can can leave work at 4 o'clock to pick up their child when their child would normally get picked up by 3 and dropped off at a sitter, or likewise, you know, parents work their schedules around their children. So to add another factor in there, I think you'd see their faith formation centers drop dramatically, especially once you start adding sports in the mix and stuff. You know, sports will probably often take priority over this program. So, I mean, there's a lot of multiple factors that I think have to be looked at before we just go, we're just dropping this program.
Thank you. We are getting to our last few minutes for the candidates. Again, if there are any questions or concerns that have not been addressed here, I know we had some more questions come in and we're not going to be able to get to, please write to your candidates that you are meeting tonight, maybe for the first time, or if you have more questions or concerns. Again, their pages have been tagged underneath the link. They should be in the comments, and we will be double checking after the live to make sure that they are there. Please feel free to reach out to Mr. McKenzie or Mrs. Voisine. Ask the questions, get your thoughts out there, write them out, talk them out, phone calls, emails. They're available, and they want to answer your questions. So to end the night, you're each going to be given the floor as a closing statement style. You can say what you want to say, what you feel like you wanted to say but maybe didn't come up. Leroy? Go.
I think that I've really enjoyed, for the most part, the time that I've spent on the board. And I actually am looking forward to where we as a board can grow our community and our students. I think that when we start changing the focus to what the future is rather than what the future or what the past was, I think that we'll all move forward. There's a lot that goes into behind the scenes of school board members. There's a lot of there's a lot to it. It's not just, like I said before, it's not just sitting at a table. I mean, yeah, that's where the voting gets done, but I mean, the majority of work is done away from the board, committee meetings, so on and so forth. And it's not just the students and teachers and parents that we advocate for. I mean, we still have, you know, budget stuff, and we have so much in so little time. I think that again, I every time I go sit down at the table and I'm amongst the other board members, I feel very blessed because I'm afforded the opportunity to advocate for everybody's children and all the parents. And if I am reelected, then I will continue to be the voice of the people and of the students and of my daughter and your kids and everybody's kids. And we don't live in a let's everybody just get along kind of world, but we live in a let's respect everybody world. And I think that we need to get back to that, because that's where I think that we're going wrong. Vote for Leroy.
Thank you. Tanya?
I would just like to be given the opportunity to be on the school board. I want to be an advocate for my kids and for Leroy's kids and Nicole's kids and everyone's kids. We are very blessed to live in this community that we do. We're very small, very tight-knit community. You can be at Mosquito and my kid's lost or stranded away. I know that someone will bring him back.
Yeah.
You know? So, we have that blessing that we know each other and we look out for each other and we've got each other's back. So I guess that's kind of where I'm coming from, is that if I'm given the opportunity to run on the school board, that I want to make sure that people know that I've got their back, that I'm going to be looking out for them.
I like that.
Thanks.
Thank you. And there we have it. Again, with WFK-TV, Channel 4 News, I'm Nicole Jandreau. Voting will be March 28, 8:30 to 5:30 here at the town office in Fort Kent. Absentee ballots are available now, so if you're not going to be able to make it that night, don't fret, you can still vote, and we absolutely implore you to do so. Signing off, until next time, thank you.